Yes, it is.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first up, Mary Lynn.
Hello, guys. As you all know, Travis is on vacation,
Yeah.
having a little Mai Tai, so yeah, you deserve, well deserved.
Yeah.
I don't think I brought you this last time because it came in late or whatever, but this is Jonathan O'Hara check. It's the end of January it came in, but I don't think I had it when I,
Jonathan O'Hara, the amount is $926.69.
here's my report, and I believe Travis told you there wasn't anything that he needed to really have me update you on. There's a couple issues I have, but. Okay, so yeah, here you can see, pretty basic, just, we're about holding tight with the runs, which is good, that'll hopefully help our revenue. But the interesting part of this is the highest amount of transfers on the hospital percent. I'm sorry. That we've had, even if you look at last year, I kind of compared, we've been in the 30s, but 43% of the 190 came out of the hospital. Meaning we transferred back home to a nursing home, to another hospital, whatever. So that's a big part of our revenue is the the transfer. So that's just a big step. That's why I do that. That's why I do that for you guys, so you can see where the money is actually coming from. And this is pretty basic. Our revenue this month was, now you have to remember the first 2 months of last year that looked really big. COVID hadn't got here yet. So it was really big. It'll be interesting to see how we hold against the months that, the bottom part of the year. Because actually, if you look last year, I did March, April, and May together because we were working at home and we weren't having meetings and all that. So we'll see how we do, but that's why, there's such a difference. But those first 2 months, people were still going to the hospitals, having elective surgeries, weren't scared to go into the ER, such, and we're still good, and we're still good 43% transfers. So, any questions on it, guys? Oh, and the last page is, we just keep whittling away at this is our old system, we don't bill in here. These are really collection or small claims accounts. So and there's some that still pay us, the $5 a week, which is fine, that's the agreement. But that's where we're at, hopefully that'll be going, we'll get all that money at some point, hopefully, or it'll, so that's the report.
But this is still
Yet to be received.
Yes, I mean, what that 73 is on the third page.
Uh-huh,
That's out of our old system, which we haven't built since we got our new system.
okay.
So that's actually all those that's not a current, I mean, it's current because it's owed us, but they're either in collections or small claims.
Right.
So yeah, we hopefully will get it, at some point, who knows? That's kind of their work, they work on it. I mean,
Okay.
of course, they're all there, so, depending if somebody wants to buy a house or something. Like that. I do have two other issues that I kind of need to mention to you guys tonight. Okay, so one of them, and this came from Rachel, she needed some direction, but she wanted me to talk to you guys about it. Okay, so the EMS was in need back in 2018. Our defib machines, our heart monitors were very old. And so there weren't parts, we couldn't get them fixed. So the commissioners at that time decided to buy two from Physio Control on a 5-year contract with no interest. Okay, so they did. The payment was $85.06.25 for 5 years. This year will be the 4th payment of that. Okay, then the next year, the third ambulance went bad. So they did another contract, same thing, only it was only for one. So it was $45.37.54 for a 5-year no interest contract. So this year will be the 3rd year of that one. So we got the bill on the 45.37 is actually due earlier in the year one. And I took the claim up to Rachel and said, Rachel, this has always been paid out of cum cap. We at one point tried to put the payment, because we knew it was going to be for 5 years, in our budget. And actually, I have the notes. The council decided at that point they would rather take it out of cum cap every year because they knew it was coming. They could budget for it because they know these two payments are coming out every year. Or they could also say it's a capital expenditure for the county. And 1 year, I know they did 1 year. I don't know if you checked, but I know 1 year it was paid out of rainy day. So the question that Rachel, or direction she needs, is where should she take this money? Because I know cum cap is kind of, so there's a $4,500 one, which is due March 15th. There's an $8,500 one due May 15th.
Which she already submitted the claim for the $4,500, and that is coming out of cum cap. I just wanted her to talk to you about
Right.
it because that is an additional $13,000 that has to be paid out of cum cap
Right.
this year.
And
so I just wanted her to mention.
right,
that,
so
you know.
that, right, but I'll be on the same page, and she would have values what to, so that's where we're at on that. So I don't know if you, but like I said, the $8,000 won't be due till May 15th, so I'll put it in the end of April. So I don't know.
Was this like the
Yes, the heart monitor.
heart?
Yes, and the ones we had back then, we would have them worked on, and we had service contracts, but they literally could not get the
Yeah,
parts.
there was a
Remember?
definite need back
Yes,
then. I
we
remember
couldn't
that.
get the parts. I mean, there was the commissioners made the right decision because there was no choice. You have to have them by state law. And it was a good deal. 5 payments, you know what the payment is, no interest, rather than coming up with 40,000 and, 20,000. So that's one of the things.
We'd have to do an additional appropriation.
Not yet,
Not yet.
but
We're getting close.
I mean,
Well,
with
once
that,
we get to that,
We're getting
with that-
dangerously close.
with your sidewalk project, but we still need to pay on the coroner's vehicle and this $13,000. You're looking at maybe having about $18,000 left in cum cap.
Okay, so that, I just wanted to bring it up and you could give Rachel some guidance on that or whatever. But I did put the claim in like she said, and then I'll put the next one in when it's due, okay? So,
'cause I mean, this is something obviously we knew we had, so.
Yeah, I forgot about it too. I mean,
yeah, it would be that every year you're gonna have $12,000. Well, next year will be the last
Yeah.
year on the one, and then next year and the next year, and then you'll be done, then we'll own them. So, they'll probably, no, I'm just kidding.
And then we won't be
Yeah,
able
that
to
one
get
they
parts.
We won't, no, they're nice, and they come out and service them, they do great work for us, so. The other, kind of, not issue, but I need some guidance on this. So this has to do with our small claims collection process. Okay, so this is how it always worked for the newer guys or whatever. We have people that, don't pay our bills, so then we had determined, the commissioners and our office decided we needed to bill them. And then after we billed them, maybe once or twice, saying you owe this bill 3 times, then we actually sent them a letter saying, you will be going to small claims if you don't contact us or make a payment plan. We're very good, it's county people, make $20 a month. Okay, so that's the process we did. The small claims, what they have always done, because we're all county, it's up to like 130 or something, the filing fee. So what they have always done, they've added it on to the patient's total bill. So some patient comes and pays the $800 off. The clerk's office always got their 132. Then we got our money. And if they only made one payment, sometimes the clerk office got theirs, and but whatever. I mean, that's just how it works out. So then, but the key part of that is that they have to have, to process it and to go forward, they have to have a signed green card, like some signature that I served it to Brian. So what has happened, and I've been here 24 years now, for the last 15 to 20 or as long as I can remember, the sheriff's department has always delivered these for us. I mean, they went from us to them, they filed them in their system, they went from them, and we put the green cards on them and stuff. Then went from them to the sheriff's departments, they delivered them, the green cards came back. Well, as of January 1 this year, Nancy turned, the other person around, turned them into the clerk's office, who sent them out to the sheriff's office, who called and said, we are not going to process these unless you pay $28 a claim. Well, we don't have that in our budget, number one. And that's what they charge other people to serve, I get it. So then we were trying to come up with some solutions. One of them was, we contacted the clerk's office and said, so what if you charge the fee, the $28 or whatever, to the patient right in the beginning, like you do your fee, and then that would come out first before we got our money. Well, I guess the clerk and the judge, or Janine, maybe, looked into it, didn't think that was feasible, said, we don't think we can do that. So the only suggestion that I would have, we have Jonathan O'Hara, who's very consistent. He doesn't charge us anything, but what used to happen, they would go through small claims, get a judgment, and then when they didn't pay, Nancy would go through them, maybe 6 months down the road, and then we'd send them on to collections because they're not paying in small claims. We would bypass the small claims process altogether because it wouldn't cost us anything. We would send them from our office, give them the notice, tell the people we're going to send you to collections, like you get, from any hospital or whatever, if you don't pay this amount, or make a payment agreement. If we do that, nothing will come out of our pocket because how he works it with us, and that's the agreement the commissioners and EMS and Jonathan O'Hara had, that he would charge us when he collected from the client or patient or whatever. So there is no cost to us. That check I get, that's after he's taken his fees. So the patient pays it, the person who owes the money, we don't have it. So my suggestion says nobody can come up with anything between there. And actually the sheriff sent a memo saying that he was no longer going to serve EMS simply because the amount of time of the officer gas and postage that we were putting into the paper service and not being compensated. So that was even with the plan, it wasn't, so that's my suggestion. So I need some guidance on because we've got a stack sitting at the clerk's office right now, and we just told her to hold them. So I don't know where you want me to go with that, but we definitely, we get money every month from Jonathan O'Hara, whether it's a big amount or a little amount. He usually has some kind of check, and you can tell by my report every month I usually have the same amount. So I just need some guidance, guys. I don't.
Well, how are you gonna collect it without a judgment?
Well, it could go from the judge, he would file it. He would file in court, whatever he does, like if somebody just takes something to collection,
Okay,
he would get the judgment, I guess. So the judgment would already be in place for him.
so he's gonna take care of the service?
He does it to serve him to the people.
Yeah.
Well, we never, I guess I want some guidance. I really haven't talked to him, and maybe you're right, Marty. I never,
I don't see how he's gonna do it
Well, he
without a
does
judgment.
he serves them, not the signature, but what I think he would do, he would send them out and he would charge us. And he would take it out of the fee, is what I think.
But
I'm
that's
not-
that's pure
what he does now.
speculation
Right,
or
because
assumption on your
what,
part
I
because you
should
haven't talked to him.
Right, I should have called him. I never really thought about
He's
that.
definitely gonna charge us.
Well, he'll charge us. I'm 100% sure.
He'll charge us when he collects
He'll charge
something.
us when he collects. He
But
won't charge
there
us
might
up
be more,
front.
there might be more to it that we're not.
Yeah, there might be another key, like Marty said. So how would, how would he get a signature? Like the sheriff's department gets a signature. So I don't know where to, I don't know.
Well, I
what
mean,
to
he could do it by certified, but how many people are gonna actually
Exactly.
respond?
Exactly.
I mean, you could do,
And that's why the
you could have
sheriff's
a private
department.
process
Well, that's-
server, but that wouldn't be cheap either.
I'm sorry, what? We could do what?
You could have a private process server, but that wouldn't be cheap either.
Right. Well, the main thing is we, as a county budget, never have budgeted in anything. And how do you budget that in? How many do you know? How many you're gonna have a year?
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you could put a random ballpark. We could go through and say, well, last year we had 100,
Actually,
or whatever.
couldn't we take them small claims ourselves without
Well, that would be through me.
using
you
somebody
You
else?
still gotta get service.
You
on
still
it.
have to get, Brian, the problem is they need to be served and they need to get a signature from small claims. Now,
Signature
maybe he has a
or,
different
or a
process.
sheriff, the sheriff can deliver it,
Mhm.
and then that's,
And maybe collections has a different process because a lot of
I
companies
think
go
it's a
from,
process server, but that, once again, I don't know why that would be cheaper necessarily, but I guess if they'll do that, I mean,
Well-
don't get me wrong, it isn't illegal, but.
well, I think the issue is coming up with the money for, because he's gonna charge us whether he gets a processor to serve him or he has some other system. The difference is if we have the sheriff do them, we're gonna have to come up with the $28. If we have O'Hara do it, I'm sure he will charge, because that's the
I'm
agreement.
not sure, you should be clear on that,
Yeah, but I mean, that was.
I'm gonna guess he's gonna want that money up front.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
you may be right, Marty. I will.
Well, I
I'm
could be
sorry,
wrong, but-
that's my fault. I just really
No,
never
that's all
thought.
right, no, it's understandable.
I just kind of wanted to get
It's
some
always a-
guidance because I didn't know, and then we just found out that they weren't going to deal with it.
It's
There's
always a
nobody
hard
out there
part
for
of the
free, you
deal.
know, no doubt about it.
So-
See, my knee-jerk reaction to that is what has prompted the sheriff to create the situation where we're paying the left hand with the right hand. Because it's all county money one way or another.
He's right on that too.
Probably because of the pension,
It-
trying to grab that extra.
That's
How
what he
many-
asked, that's what he
How many days
said.
service in a year? 100?
Maybe because she only does it probably twice a year, twice a year. So it's not, well, I think there's 48 right now sitting there on somebody's desk or on the clerk's desk because we had the sheriff's department bring them back in. So, I just don't know where to go with this. I
Why don't you
don't,
have Rachel check other counties and see how they're doing it?
I
And then you
think,
could do
I
your- do
think,
your due diligence on your things for your service, because they don't have really any information to make the decision on.
Right,
Why
and
don't
I'm
you have
sorry.
Rachel do that?
Talk to me.
and I think Travis did, and some other counties didn't charge Lewis, but I will double check because he's not here. But I think we had that conversation where he did check two other counties.
Maybe if the other sheriff's departments aren't charging, then maybe Charlie can negotiate.
I don't
with the
know.
sheriff.
I just need to know where to go, guys. And how about if I just I'll find out my information.
Yeah, because we can't make a decision. on
No, you
it
can't.
tonight.
And I'm sorry that I didn't bring that. I just never thought of contacting him until I
Yeah.
talked to you because I didn't know if that's what
Right.
you wanted to do, but I will get
Who is it?
prices, how he would do it.
Business on there. Should we ask him or?
Yeah. Might as well.
Bill, are you online?
Jim? Oh, yeah.
No, he's not. Fine.
Probably heard it back there.
Probably under Pam.
Pam might be on.
I don't know.
Hello?
Yes,
That's Pam. Pam's on it.
Oh, Pam, can you hear me? Pamela. There you go, Pam.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to go, wouldn't it be better to go through the sheriff's department?
It would. That's what we've done for 20 years, but they don't want to do it.
I think they take it more seriously when the sheriff delivers it.
Pam, can you hear me?
Yeah. Marty, you know what?
We're trying to get hold of us.
Never big thing, so maybe he.
I texted,
You know, I
I
mean,
texted Bill.
check with him what he would do.
Yeah, that's what we need to know what his proposal is.
Yeah, I'll check. I'll
Otherwise
here
you're gonna-
tomorrow.
Hey,
I'll
Marty?
get back with you.
Otherwise you're gonna
Marty,
be paying
you
somebody
want me to
out of
send the information to
I
you?
don't
so
think
you-
you're-
Yeah.
No,
I'll
Bill's
send
not
you
on
the-
Zoom, so he's not on.
Why not?
Okay,
Well,
I
at
will
least bring
actually
it back
do
into
this
the county.
tomorrow and I'll send you the information.
Am I
Give it to
wrong?
Rachel, and then.
Yeah.
we'll
Okay,
have
can
time
you,
to-
can you hear me now, Rachel?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Sorry, I'm just tuning in. What did you have a question for me?
Give me a call.
Yeah, I believe the commissioners did about the sheriff's service.
For the EMS, Pam, it's me.
Uh-huh.
I think it was what?
Okay.
$28.
I think he said, I think it was $28 was the fee that you normally charge to serve,
Correct. Yeah, it's $28.
right?
So this is not something that's been charged to EMS in the past, but what was the motivation to start charging this other department this year?
We receive about 39 to about 50 papers at a time. That has our sheriff deputies tied up serving those papers. We pay for the fuel. We pay for the postage for the return mail. We pay for the officers to go out and serve the papers. We were under the impression that it was actually being paid and it was going into their retirement. We did some digging, looking into it, and then found out it wasn't.
Who did you think was paying it? We weren't paying it. You thought we were paying the EMS?
Yeah,
How did you, I mean, that's never been in.
correct. Yeah.
Marty?
I mean, we're willing to work with whatever we can work together with. We have expenses going into it too.
But they would have to come up with that money up front though, because they would have to mail it at the post office where their fees are within the office, you know, all their paperwork, but,
What I'm saying is we could wash it through. I mean, we could set up a fund
oh, okay, yeah.
in their line, but it gets fed with those, you know, it's gonna be delayed, obviously, those funds collected from the clerk. But
Well,
I don't
you
see
said
why-
the judge wasn't,
be
Well-
onto the court fee the way it is.
We called Kim, right, that does small claims. Kim said she had to check with Janine. We checked again and they said they didn't know how they could handle it or if they could handle it. That was the answer we got today because they said, I'm going to the meeting. So maybe it was just, there's no
How many
definitive
other
answer.
fees on there? They had fees on the court.
They had,
costs.
well, they had, the court, they cost the $132 on every, you know.
Right. Just add it to the court, raise the court cost to $28 and give us $28 and we'll create a fund in your account and, you know.
It can be added to the court case or to the.
Okay,
cost
can you
of the
check on
court.
that for sure through the judge or whoever needs to approve it? Because we were told, no, we're not doing it.
Should be.
I'm not sure.
That's the first I've heard of it.
But I think the clerk does.
This has been in the last week. We've all heard about it. Rachel,
Okay.
we talked, beginning of last week about it. The first thing that we knew that they were gonna charge us.
Dave, were you saying add a line in the EMS budget to pay for the $28?
That way there's somewhere to collect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
Sure.
and I'm not putting Rick on the hot spot, but I mean, if we need bricks, if we need the highway, and I know it's a separate fund, obviously I've been around that a long time, I'm just saying, we do pay other departments already to do things, and that is a lot of work. You know, I mean, and I've used the sheriff department personally to serve papers,
Sure.
and I see what they have to go through, plus they make copies, they,
Well,
do the return mail, and like she said, so. And, you know, we're trying to put something in there for the pension too, so I think that would be the best thing is if we can do that,
Can't be
ask the
added.
judge.
It can't be
To
added
most
this
of the-
year unless they.
What you're talking about, most is through
I mean, we're
small
not gonna be
claims
able to
court,
do
right?
additional appropriation.
I'm sorry, what?
Last
Most
year
of
they
it's
had
through
like
small
$100.
claims court.
Yes, we always
I
went through the
suggest
small
that
claim.
they-
If
first.
Bernadette says you can add that,
Create it
to it,
now,
I
fund
don't
it
know
with
why
money, let's watch
we
it
couldn't.
grow in the
All
first
I know
quarter.
is they said
Why would-
they were gonna check with Janine.
Bernadette?
The judge.
Let's just start it.
You think we could add that to that?
She
I
should check
mean-
with whoever needs to approve, or on that side of the road. I don't, we
And
just were told, no.
we can make sure that it gets added to the court cost.
Okay,
So why don't we do that?
that's fine with
Let's do
me.
that.
I
I think
mean,
that would be the best.
Yeah.
We'll talk to
The best
Judge.
solution.
well, because too, the clerk's
Easiest,
office is
really.
gonna lose
Okay.
the court. I mean, even though we only do 60 a year, they still make that money. I know they do the work, but that's still money that will come out of their revenue.
So did you hear what Dave said? We'll create a line here but we'll have to transfer money to it from somewhere else for
Okay.
this year. So when you file a small claims, you're gonna be paying $28 through the claims process to the clerk of the court
Okay,
for each case.
but they're gonna put money in our budget,
So-
'cause there's no money in our budget to transfer.
Yeah, well,
So you're-
No,
we'll get that.
if you wanna do it this way, you have to transfer.
Well, I don't wanna do it this way, I'd rather go directly to O'Hara.
Well, we don't know that that's an option yet.
I don't.
Yeah.
Well, here, this sounds like a more
Right.
practical
Well, what I'm saying, we don't have any money, that was the whole point, I don't have any.
No, wait, we gotta figure it out, let's try that, I mean, I'd still rather we pay some other service, let's pay our own service. you know,
Yeah.
we get
Yes.
Those sort of pension, let's do that.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
Right,
So
so
I think it
just
makes
have
more
to put
sense.
some money from somewhere in a line.
I don't see,
to do it.
Bernadette,
Yeah, we'll
there's,
figure it
there's no
out.
reason that
Okay.
can't be done, that, you
No,
know,
there's
you just
no
need
reason
that,
that
you
it
need to
can't be
fund
done.
it on the
We
front
do it
end.
on other
That way it
small-
stays in the county.
It's
Right.
done
That
on
way it
other
stays in
small
the
claims
county.
cases, so I don't see why. it
The
can't
only
be done
thing
here.
is,
Yeah, because they
is
already
it gonna
charged
go
the
back
one fee,
into
the
her budget?
$132.50.
Or
that they,
is
you
it
know,
going
to
to
it.
go
If
into
going- if they collect
cum
it,
cap or,
if they collect it back from the defendant, it'll go straight to county general,
okay, go county?
because that's where it's being paid out of.
It can-
So will
it's-
we
it's-
collect
But
it
we-
or will small
It
claims?
won't.
It's your case, and
We-
they
will we?
pay them, it doesn't matter. what.
They would
No.
collect
They
it.
When you file the small claims, you are gonna pay $28 out of your budget.
For the claim.
Yeah.
Out of whatever line.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
that
then I
money-
am gonna get all the money.
Yeah.
So that
Not,
would be a difference.
not
Not all.
court costs,
Not
but
all.
you will get that. money.
$28, I'll get what they owe me and $28, and it'll go back in just like it does now.
Yeah.
It's fine, I mean, any way you want me to do it, I'll do it, but it'd be a waste not to collect that money, because, I mean, it's,
at least it
Well, it'd
stays
be
in
a
the
waste to
county.
pay somebody else too, so this way everybody's happy, let's get started, we don't know until we try it.
Mhm.
You were over last year anyways, 2,800 isn't gonna kill anybody. I
Mhm.
mean, you know, we've got other things, and
Sure.
just your service fee on your one, heart machine, you know.
Yeah.
well, Which, by the way, while I'm on that, our next draw on Cume Cap comes when?
In the end of May.
May, okay,
Um,
okay, so, you know, I guess the timing will be right there, I mean, so the highway, the sidewalk project, how much is that?
114,000.
I mean, at the end of the day, if it gets really tight, I'm just asking, but since I already had my mouth open, Chuck. If we were to defer that or like maybe just, you know, temporarily put a hold on the sidewalk project, what would be the negative? Are we not in ADA compliance or something with the sidewalk? Like, why,
I don't
Can we
know.
delay
They
that
already
maybe and-
approved it, right?
Already approved it, yeah.
Yeah, they already approved it, so I don't think we could delay it.
they have, well, actually, this is government, and they haven't actually set up any forms yet or anything, have they?
Yeah, we've
Oh,
already
yeah.
signed, yeah.
All right, I was just thinking maybe you might be able to buy some time on it. It'll just be close, that's all.
so can I clarify this? Okay, so I'm not checking out here, the only thing, Dave, we wouldn't be paying somebody else, the defendant would be paying the $28. So that's
I
okay,
understand how that works.
but I mean, do you want me to check with O'Hare and see what
That's
his
up to
process?
those guys, what I'm saying is I'd rather pay our own people.
Yeah,
than to pay
I
somebody,
agree with that too.
You know? and
Because
then
we're
get the
putting it
money
right back
directly.
into.
Yeah, I get it, I mean, you're
I think
paying.
he's gonna wanna be paid up front on that too.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
could
well,
be
I'll see,
wrong.
I'll just,
I'm not even
I'll just
sure
get
he's
some
allowed to
info
do
and you
that.
guys.
I don't know if
Yeah.
he can actually, but
Right.
he would still get it through his fees, I mean. he's-
Yeah, he would charge the client.
Of course, I'm just saying, we'd still have to put the money on the front end, I think.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna end up costing us more in the long run.
I will, Marty, I'll check and I'll let you know what he says, and then you
Right,
guys
right,
just tell
right.
me.
No, that's fine.
And Bernadette, we're gonna, you'll be in contact with me, we'll work it out, or whatever I need to do.
I really think,
Rachel, you're gonna set up a fund and.
I think in the end, we'll be better off if we do it.
Yeah, keep it.
Local inside.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's all I have, gentlemen. Have anything else?
Nope.
Okay,
Thanks.
Thanks.
thank you.
They can serve it personally, that does help.
I'll let you know.
Okay, February, we actually got a fairly cold, snowy month for the first time in a couple of years. You could really tell the difference between our new drivers. We have 5 drivers who've been here less than 3 years and 10 more than 3 years. And the majority of the complaints we got were from those 5 drivers who've been there less than 3 years. So it just shows that training is important and that longevity is very important. Because last year we weren't able to do some of the training we normally did because of COVID. So I'm not blaming it on that, but I'm just saying that people have been there for a couple of years. It usually takes a while for them to become non-green cards. So that just kind of showed this time, this is our first big major snowstorm with no melting for about 2 weeks. So they all learned from it, so all the drivers got better, so that's all you can ask for. We've been cleaning our equipment in this last week with the good weather. We got most of our trucks that were down repaired, and we've cleaned all our equipment. We got some pictures of that. I also included a picture last month. I talked about some of the complaints we get. My office people wanted me to put some of the positive things that we get. So we do get people saying good things about us too. So I put that on there, that picture of that note. We're out patching today. We'll be doing that the rest of the week. As usual, this time of year, we need to patch a bit early.
Yeah, this has been pretty good problem making.
Yes, and we are aggressively hitting that this week. Now, that's the board, as you know, our work board that we use every summer. I'm gonna get back to that a little bit. And I've highlighted some things yellow. I'll explain at the end why I did some of that. The bridges, we now have, the other day I sent you an email, we had awarded a grant for Bridge 59. So we now have 3 bridges and our bridge inspection contract funded by grants. So there's 4 grants, all 4 are designed. Bridge 137, the contract with the consultants for NDOT is there. If you guys could sign that, you voted on last time, that would be good. We will be getting bridge number 7 in the next month for you guys to sign as well. The other Yellow River Bridge. And 59 is probably about 6 months out for that kind of contract. We just got the funds awarded for that. We received our bridge inspection phase 2 complete book. We're getting the physical copies in the next week or so. They went well. Our bridges are in very good shape. We have all our bridges are safe for buses. So we only have 2 that are posted. Those will both be replaced soon. So our bridges are really doing well. Community crossings grants. We have 2 grants that we were awarded this last year that will be done in the spring. So that makes 6 grant contracts open from NDOT. It's a good thing. The call for projects 2021 first round, we applied for 700 East between State Road 8 and 625 South. Originally it was going to be State Road 8 to State Road 10, but the area in 700 East south of 10 is a little bad too, so we extended that a little. It looks like we're going to get awarded that one too, so that'll be the next phase of our hot mix plan. When we go to that, will be 7 grants that we have for the last 2 years. It's about $4 million worth of projects. The net plans for that, I already have, our consultant drew up plans for 500 North. I'll get to that more in a minute, about the from US 35 to Hamlet. That will be on the next, we may do that in the next call. If we don't have enough money left on our $1 million cap, we may finish the range road from Toto Road to Co-op. If that's a little bit shorter distance, we may be able to do that instead. If that's so, the 500 North will be moved down to the first one of the next year. We also have County Road 210 around Bass Lake designed, and that will be after 500 North. That's the next on that truck route list. All right, NDOT call for projects. As you know, when we got awarded bridge number 59, 500 North, during the call when we were defending, we were the only one with more than one. They flat out told me that you need to do 500 North through community crossings. Almost every project awarded in this call for projects, most of them, with the exception of some of the towns, were bridges. They were really focusing on bridges. That's why I wanted to include a bridge on there, thinking if they did, they tend to focus on one type of project each time. So we had a little bit of everything. But they told us when we put that in community crossings, it'll be approved. So we'll shift that. That'll be the next major one we apply for. Total road site distance. They said basically the same thing, except a different program. There's the HSIP, the Highway Safety Improvement Program, that goes to LTAP. They do a road safety audit. And then you get to the line for that grant. I'm setting that up with Laura Slusser from LTAP. That's why it's important to get these things into these grant things and going through the process. They tell you if they're not going to give you through that grant program, they basically give you a strong hint what grant program you need to use to do that. So by doing that, by applying for those 3, we got one, and they told us where to go for the other 2. And when they do that, they generally, if you apply for them through those other grant programs, you'll generally get them. So that's why we do that. And it's always a good idea to overload on the calls for projects. Facilities, we have 2 garage doors were installed this month, and we have a new front door for the office that's arrived. US 30 Coalition, you may have heard on the news that the preliminary engineering study is being done. That's not the full bore one, which kind of commits NDOT to doing the project. This is a little bit less. The coalition wanted this. We are, as you know, kind of carefully watching this. Depending on how this environmental study goes, that will depend on the highway, freeway, will that project happen? The governor did announce that in one of his speeches the other day, so it's a possibility where it could happen. But this is why it's been important for us to be on there. And we need to continue to be on there, because if that becomes a reality, Stark County is going to need a voice in that project. Even if it says.
We're not gonna spend any money on it.
Right, no, oh, no, it won't be
Definitely.
it won't be Stark County money, this is all NDOT money. But this will enable Stark County to have a voice, and otherwise, the US 31, when some counties kind of opted out of that, they didn't get a say in what happened, and they kind of got cut off. So you don't necessarily want to do that. Vehicles, we have 4 already delivered, well, 3. The regular replacement, which will be here any day for a single axle. Distributor truck will be coming in August. And we replaced the pickup from the ones we sold in the auction. That'll be coming, this month. And I got good news from the insurance company. Looks like we're going to put a pretty sizable, they'll give us a reimbursement check for that, for the one that was totaled last month. And if that happens, we will order a truck immediately to replace that one. We'll use that and the leftover auction money to do that, so it won't come up, it won't cost anything in the budget that way.
That'll be good.
Yes. Personnel, I'm doing evaluations in the next week, been about a year. Training and safety equipment, I'm gonna mention these in a little bit, because I'm gonna get, the one thing I'll mention now, Rachel and I completed recorded our road school presentation, right in this right here, by the way. And that will be on the 9th.
You don't watch it.
Yeah, we won't tell you the right date. It's for the communication between the auditor's office and the highway department. As you know, in most departments, I mean, many counties, that's kind of a source of friction. In ours, it's not. And we kind of gave some people some tips, and that'll be good that our name will be at road school in Stark County. It's always good for Stark County represented there. Okay, so now I'll get back to all these things I highlighted in a minute. It's been a very difficult decision for me, very difficult. Traffic control specialist approached me recently and made me an offer I basically could not refuse. And I thought hard about it. I love being a highway superintendent. I love doing things for Stark County. As you probably know, I work really hard at it and try to do the best I can. I almost did not make the decision. I kind of listed things we've done. The asset management that we're following, it's very important that we continue to follow that. Very important. They're gonna make the requirements for that more stringent this year with the legislation. We're ahead of the game on that. As long as we stay ahead of the game, we'll still have 7 grants lined up like we are now. I have, the effective date is March 12th. It's important because of those 7 outstanding grants, I have been the lead contact, and I have to transfer that basically to the other ERC, which is Mary, and to Rachel. And they can kind of transition that in the interim until we go forward. That's why I highlighted those things. Each one of the things I highlighted is going to take some transitional work from me. All those community crossing grants, they're all set up, and I'll give them a list of things that they have to do to continue those grants, because those grants are a continual process. Same thing with the coalition. I'm on that. You may not want me to be on that if I'm not a county employee. One of you, I think it would be my recommendation, it would be one of you to be on that committee now, especially when it's starting to heat up a little bit. I will always be here to answer questions. I will always care about the success of the highway department. Even when I leave, I won't be able to prevent that. And I'll always, anything to help you guys need, or any questions about things that have been in the past, I'll be more than happy to help that. The vehicle list, I put those on there because we already have those orders, so you have to take that into consideration with the budget. You can't use any more of that vehicle budget this year, because we have to order vehicles months in advance, and we've already done that.
Right.
So it's basically using not extra money, but it's used up the vehicle budget. Training and safety, this is a very important thing, is part of our success. When I got here, there was combined $3,000 in the training and safety budgets. We have upped that to almost $40,000. Now, where that's paid off, we averaged about $250,000 to $300,000 in workman comp claims when I got here for the 3 or 4 years before I got here. Last year, we had $6,000 in claims. You combine that 40,000, that's 46. You combine that 320 with the 3, directly proportional to how much we spend on training and safety equipment that workman's comp. So it's very important and the training and safety continues. And it's kind of an elaborate three-tier system that Rachel and Mary know about, and I will list that before I go, and how you follow that. It has really worked. It's worked for the counties. Jason Peters in Marshall County just got Highway Superintendent of the Year this year. We got it last year. It's because he follows the same thing we do. We basically do many of the things that he does. He's followed asset management and this training and safety. Every time we go to the class, you see Marshall County guys there too. I think we've been to a couple. They're always there, we're always there, and it has really made a difference for both counties. So it's very important. ADA Title VI, I'm the coordinator. I will get all that stuff together. I just recently updated all of our ADA and Title VI requirements. I will forward that to you guys, so you have that all ready to go. It's in good shape. We are good funding wise that way. Our construction inspection program that we have, that's very important that stays. It saves us 100, as long as we get all these grant projects we get, we normally would have had to pay a consultant to do this, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a pop. We're doing 3 or 4 of these projects a year. Our construction inspector works about half the year on that. So it's about $20,000, less than half. He plows snow and does other things, and there's road assessments at other times. That saves about $150,000 a year. We're the only small county that does that. Large counties do that, but really the only ones that really do that on their own.
They're gonna pay you that much more. They're gonna pay you that much more. Are they gonna pay you that much more?
I will say.
Not a true story. I mean,
They did. I basically, first offer I said no, and then the second one, they said, well, we basically write what you want. So I couldn't pass it up for my family. I don't want to go, and I really want to stay, but for my family, really, for the future of my wife and I, we can't to do it.
I mean, we're really hard to work for.
No, I don't know, and I love it. Everybody knows. Rachel knows how hard this was for me. It's been about a month.
We love you to death.
I know. And
We don't want to lose you.
We're not losing.
That's what I'm talking
I
about.
know. I will always be here. I will always,
Well, especially with the grants and everything.
I'm not
He's
moving.
changing
Rick
jobs.
knew how to do all the grants and
Well,
everything,
hey,
get it done.
I'm still, and all that's gonna be listed out, and if you ever need to call me on that, because there's an easy track, once somebody
Okay.
knows how to do it, they can do that.
Okay.
But I will always be there for it. I'm telling you, I drive roads, and every time I drive a county road now, I look at every road and say, hey, this needs to be done. And I will do that until I'm 90 years old.
I hate to lose them.
We're not
That's all.
letting them off the board for
I
it.
just
I
hate
will
to
still
lose
be
them.
nearby, and I'm still gonna stay on the park board and Kirksey and some of the other things. I'm definitely gonna be involved. I'm gonna be coming to meetings because I do like this, and I'm really, I think the success of
wanna
Stark
lose
County is very important to me. So, that being said, I will, be contacting you guys a lot by email on this transition. Everything I
This
kind of
is-
list out you guys will get.
That's kind of a shock there.
Yeah, I know. me too.
You never said nothing.
We appreciate.
Yeah, because I wasn't gonna make, I made the decision today.
Yeah.
Because it was so difficult for me. I've been going back and forth and a couple things, and personally, I kind of have to do it, and so, but I will always be here for it and always be part of the county, all right?
Well, we appreciate it, Rick.
I appreciate you guys too.
We've done, and
You've done a lot of great work over the years.
Yes.
And,
They done it.
the
Really good
programs that
job.
you focused on really have shown.
And I just say, it's important that these things kind of continue. And
Yes.
they're all spelled out, and going to those classes helps, and when you go to AIC conferences and things. Charlie's been to a couple of them. You really learn a lot, things you don't know about the highway department. It's important that you guys go to those every once in a while. And you'll learn a lot of things of why we do what we do. So, all right, thank you.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rick.
Hey, thank you.
Yep.
We got the computer purchase request from treasurer Lori.
Hi.
We got your request in front of us here. I guess if you just want to kind of go through it a little bit, explain what you're wanting more.
Well, I need an updated computer system. The one that is in there currently that I'm using was manufactured in 2012. And Richard had told me when I was coming in that I would probably want to update that it was old. And I just thought that I would be able to work with it. And after it freezing up on me during phone calls with taxpayers and having to get phone numbers and call people back at least 10 times, because I have to reboot and get back in the system, and then it still doesn't want to let me back in. And several times Richard's had to like reboot it, and it was the same password, but it still wouldn't let me in. And he had to like reset it with the same password, and it worked after resetting it. That's happened about 3 or 4 times. And it really just needs to be updated to not be so slow and keep locking up and freezing up and kicking me out.
This has been a major hit to your daily productivity.
Yeah. Especially when I've had to shut down and call people back, and it's kind of embarrassing too.
The only thing I would question on this is the need for new monitors on hers. 'Cause I know there's a pile of adapters somewhere that, you know, depending on what the output on this new chassis is to connect to the monitors. So we might be able to cut $300 off of this quote. But other than that, I don't know where we would get any other cost savings.
Okay.
Used to be on IT.
Yeah,
We should know.
and yeah, she has not the oldest, but I would say the second oldest. The oldest being the machines that power her cashier stations. So yeah, probably should have been done a year or 2 ago, as far as an upgrade for that particular workstation.
Is that something?
Doesn't it include the new monitor or?
Like I said, I think the existing monitors are fine. I think we can remove the items here for the 2 24-inch monitors and the cables. But I mean, if we go with this, we definitely need, you know, the 802 for the actual workstation and the amount for the Office software license, because there's no getting away from that. Because everybody's got to have a copy of Microsoft Office.
So you're looking at the 802 for that, what they call it, Optiplex?
I'm looking at,
Because the software is $307.91.
yeah. So I would remove the 332.08 and the 17.08 there on that first quote, the first page from Dell.
So you're gonna make a motion on like 802.68 or? Is that what you're talking about? I don't.
Yeah.
And the 307.91.
I'm missing that.
So is there a motion to approve the $802.68 and also the $307.91 out of Q cap?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Is that all you got for us, Lori?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the vendor claims in the amount of $525,516.57?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
there a motion to approve the payroll claims in the amount of $277,171.36?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
There a motion to approve the minutes from February 16th, 2021?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Guess we just gotta sign this. Got the employee handbook updates.
Well, there was a couple of comments from the insurance company. One of them actually related to a thing that it's been the practice, but wasn't clearly reflected in the handbook. So that being that, not to get into the weeds too much, but that being that under Indiana law, when a elected official is a constitutionally mentioned office in the state constitution, makes a decision about employment, there's not any review by the commissioners. However, and that was brought to, that was brought up in this review, but of course that's, something that you're all familiar with, I think, and that's always been the policy. So it wasn't really mentioned in the handbook. One of the challenges with the handbook is you don't want to get into the weeds too far on legal issues like that. I did suggest the addition of a footnote that simply says that that acknowledges that fact, but then it also says that doesn't preclude you from hearing agreements, because there are things you can do. And those include, but I didn't want to get into enumerating what the things are, because you don't know what those are until you see them, I guess.
Right.
Well, one of them is sometimes, frankly, one of them that I don't think they necessarily think about is sometimes if you agreed that the grievance was raising a valid point, you might simply say to the elected official, well, gee, we think you're being a little harsh, and they might reconsider. That's one. And of course, you also have always the option of finding another position for an employee that you think is a valued employee, if that one doesn't work. So, and then the other one that was raised, frankly, I think both of us reacted, well, gee, we didn't know that. And then I went to try to confirm it, and I wasn't able to confirm that the actual opinion that was stated was correct. And so I'm continuing to work on that. I did actually find some authority for the proposition that wasn't correct. So I don't have any reason to think that our handbook is incorrect on that point. Would you agree with that? I mean, we both
About
actually,
FMLA?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I kind of get wrecked, like, gee, I didn't know that. And then when I heard you say that, I thought, well, I think I better see if I can confirm that point. And I wasn't able to, so.
They're saying that if an employee's on FMLA, we have to pay them holiday pay. Which that's still
And I couldn't find any authority that said that. And I wasn't aware of that rule, and I couldn't find any authority that said that.
Yeah, that
So,
was not my understanding of that law, but then I haven't looked at FMLA in about 6 years.
well, it can be confusing, but, you know, once again, and there was, I mean, honestly, there wasn't any reference to authority either, so we'll continue to check into that, but at this point, I don't want to change it if it's not wrong, unless you want us to, of course. I think the way I see the rule is you could do it, you could implement it the way they suggested, but you're not required to, and that hasn't been the practice here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It wouldn't, you know, you could do that, you could choose to do that, but you don't have to, as far as I've been able to determine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we haven't done it and we don't have to do it, I don't see why we would.
So,
And that was the only 2 points that were raised, right?
But the FMLA update is not in that handbook, that only the first.
Yeah, so I made the one change, which once again, really wasn't a change, but I think that was a good piece of advice though, because there wasn't any reference to that, the practice in the handbook. So it's good to have a reference to it so that it doesn't come up like that wasn't something we were aware of. In fact, we are.
but what you're saying is that first one is about an elected official, say Rachel.
She's a constitutional
If
officer.
she's got somebody working for her, if she wants to get rid of somebody, it doesn't have anything to do with the commissioner.
Well, if only it were quite that simple. That's part of the problem. It sort of does, because, you know, this is one of the things when I read that piece of advice, I kind of, well, you know, that makes sense, but the world is a little more complicated than that, because the fact is, if that employee sues, it's still the county that gets sued, right? You know, so it behooves. And also, you know, you do have a grievance procedure. Now, I'm not saying there's any legal requirement that you have a grievance procedure, but I think that it does more good than harm in terms of managing, because sometimes people, sometimes you can't do any good in a grievance procedure, but sometimes you can. And I know, I sometimes get the impression that people feel that that's a pointless thing, but the truth is the grievance procedures do sometimes result in you know, some kind of give and take that does help the situation. So, you know, I think grievance procedures are a good thing to have, you know.
Well, it's not a bad idea there, but in a way, they're not really working for the commissioner. If they're in a particular office, they're actually working underneath the supervision of the person that was elected to that office.
If you know, in a corporate environment, that would be very true. But the weird part about the government sometimes is there's somewhat contradictory rules, and you know, the commissioners are nonetheless the chief executive body of the county, who has general oversight over employees. That's the point of this. The exception to that is if an elected official who's a constitutional office doesn't want somebody in their office, you can't make them have them. That I will agree with. But that doesn't mean that you don't have any authority over that office. You have decision and power regarding when holidays are. You have decision power regarding hours. You open and close. I mean, like for example, during COVID, you had decision over. You know, you see what I'm saying? So it's a little more complicated than that. That's one of the reasons why when I read that, I thought, well, you know, unfortunately, the practice is a little more complicated than just saying you don't have any authority, because you do. I don't want to put in a handbook that you don't, because then, you know, people read it and they come in, it says right here, you don't have any authority over that. Well, that isn't exactly true. You have certain areas where you don't have authority, others that you do. So a complicated answer to a simple question.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry about that. That's my opinion of what the correct analysis of it is.
So we don't have to make no motion on that or nothing, just.
I mean, the one change that he made, make a motion to update the handbook.
I'll make a motion to update the handbook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for your patience in listening to the explanation. Thanks for the explanation.
On the
Then we got the alcohol beverage board.
alcohol beverage board, I talked to Mr. Wallace, and you said Kenny, can you kind of explain it to the other two commissioners? I haven't talked to them yet.
Mark Peters' grandson, Mark, resigned because he moved to assisted living in Lafayette. And his grandson wanted it. And you guys appointed him at a meeting, I don't know.
Right.
But he called me last week and he doesn't want it because he can't meet during the day. He said if the meetings was at night, he'd be glad. But every alcohol board in the state is done during the day.
Yeah, the state sets those times.
So I got a hold of Brian and he got Jim Brown here to accept it, so at least it's filled because we gotta have 3 out of 4 or you can't do nothing. You gotta have a 4.
This is Jim Brown.
Yep.
It is, how you say that, politically affiliated to, and it's gotta be Republican.
Yeah.
Jim's a Republican.
Yeah.
And, I think he'd be good for it. So, he used to be postmaster here back, what, 83, 84, 85, somewhere back in there,
Yeah, I left in 83.
somewhere in there. So, I think he'd do good. I had to ask Kenny, I said, what do you guys do anyway, you know?
No, they do a bit. I've been in front of them.
Well, they do a lot of stuff. And if you don't have enough for a quorum, you can't get anything done.
Yeah. So is there?
I nominate Jim Brown.
So that's your motion?
There's my motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Kenny and Jim. Then we got the sidewalk document, just needs our signatures on it. My signature.
I think there might be other or maybe not.
Let's get a hold of that.
Okay.
I did. I haven't got an answer from you, but they're aware of the situation. She has to talk to the lady that works there, has to talk to the guy who owns it. So, yeah, they're looking at.
You got anything else, Mike?
Me and Todd, we went to like, I don't
Did
know,
you see this one?
10, 11 different places. And we got the applications out there. We only got like 3 back so far.
Really?
Uh,
It just went there?
We went all over the county. He put 100 something miles on his car that day. We went to Scoots Lake.
I'm gonna look into it to see if any of those other entities have pledged anything, and then I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, let us know.
Okay.
Do you got anything else, Brian?
No, just said,
I do not.
yeah, in a way, I just like told everybody that Todd and I went to a bunch of places. We went to what, 11 different places trying to get the applications out to people for the
For the grant, for the businesses.
Okay.
And we've got, what, 3 back so far? We got 3 back so far. We need at least 4.
Yeah,
Hopefully we'll get some more, but
well, that's a good start.
it was a start.
Yeah.
And Rachel's been working very hard on, and also Marty. And getting trying to get the food stores and stuff, what it is going.
I need to get the application form.
Everybody's working together.
Yeah,
Let's put it that way. We're trying hard.
that's the point.
Hopefully we get it.
Yeah. Rachel, you got anything else?
Absolutely. You know I do. So I heard that the trustees appointed Mark Allen. I have not gotten any official documentation. I don't know if you want to accept their appointment tonight or not because the planning commission has a meeting coming up.
I like paperwork.
That's.
Doesn't Mark automatically get it?
No,
An
well,
email, right?
Yeah, I haven't got
At
it.
least.
At least.
Yeah, something.
Oh, he got,
They appointed him, but you have to like accept their
They-
I'll accept it.
Yeah.
I'll accept Mark Allen.
If they're gonna need to document it.
They had a vote, the planning commission had a vote.
I haven't got any documentation yet from the trustees, so do
Okay.
you want me to just wait till? I
Yeah,
get-
let's wait till we get
They
some.
can, but
County card, talked to you guys about the county card today.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about like if people are going to conferences and stuff, but if they're actually doing all day work on county work,
Mhm.
it's totally up to you, you know, if you want to make them take the county car or not. My only suggestion is if you don't make them take the county car, then they need to sign something saying we're not liable for their,
True.
I
They're
don't
fine.
even know if we can do that.
I don't know, yeah, I don't know that
Because-
we can, because I
Well,
know,
yeah, but they were offered a county car, and if they decline, we're not paying for their own car when it gets wrecked.
the other thing is, why would we pay
That's a
mileage
question, but I-
for something when we got a car
To me,
sitting
automated
here,
too. I mean,
ready to go?
it's just asking-
We don't need to pay their mileage and
like,
everything.
yeah, my initial thoughts are, you know, that's something we should kind of leave to the department head's judgment. That's part of the reason why they're department heads make calls like that.
Right now, they're-
If they're interested in saving money in their budgets, they'll use the county car. If they're not interested in saving money in their budgets, they'll pay their employees mileage.
Yeah, but you're in charge of the taxpayer money. I mean, this is taxpayer money that we're spending, and if they can save money in their budgets, that means employees get raises. If we can't save money in our budgets, we don't get raises.
and we got a car sitting here,
We have 2 cars sitting there.
a lot.
Nothing that I'm asking you to decide on tonight, but we need to decide something, one way or the other.
I'm just leery to start like a motor pool for general use, because that snowballs into even more bureaucracy.
I really think if a county employee, I'd make a motion if a county employee is here, they're using their own car, that they should be using a county car. There's no reason to be spending that money. Where's my motion?
Yeah, I mean, those cars definitely need to be used more.
Yeah.
It's just administering their uses.
Because now, like,
Go ahead. Hi, Carrie.
Hi,
hi, Carrie.
how are you guys?
Good.
Good. I'm just kind of piping in, if you don't mind, on this issue with the county employees using their own vehicles.
Yeah.
We've discussed this in the past years, and I have a very good document that I can get to you that explains how they should or shouldn't and the implications if they do or they don't. And it might help you guys to make a decision on how you want to handle that. And just how the county insurance works on that is we have this situation currently is that if they use their car, we as the county on our auto policy, we have hired a non-owned coverage. So, but that being said is that the liability for the county employee using their own vehicle is in a secondary position. So their liability on their own vehicle policy needs to be on a primary basis. So their policy is going to pay first in any type of an accident on liability, and also always primary and the only coverage that they would have for physical damage. So if their car is, sustains damage, well, on county business, their own policy has to pay for that. And so I can't remember who it was in the past where the issue came up and we went through this quite extensively. But it is a concern. Now, the county would always be covered primary. So let's say that claim, there's a liability claim that comes back against the county because that employee was doing business on the county's time and out of the scope of their employment. So if the county was named in a lawsuit or something like that, then the auto coverage for the county is primary, but it's still always going to be secondary for the employee on their own car. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, send us that document. I'll have to go over it.
Okay, it really explains it very well. And, it's a big concern because most employees then also do not go to their own auto carrier to let them know that they're using their vehicle in a business, for business purposes, which you've got to be careful on that side too, that policy doesn't exclude coverage for them while using their vehicle in business. So it becomes a very big issue at times, which it doesn't seem like it should, but it can be.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
The other thing is, there is no federal mileage reimbursement anymore either. Like me, I use my car for business, company doesn't have to pay me anything, but they choose to. It's not before how you used to, you have to pay 53 cents, whatever it fluctuated. Not anymore.
We do pay 40 cents a mile.
Yeah, and that's fair,
Yeah,
but you don't have to.
I think we were
I don't believe.
following the state
We
was the
got
right
two
term on
vehicles
that.
that
But I
are
just need to
to pay for that.
take inspiration from state policies as far as mileage goes.
Take our vehicle, go.
Does anyone here have anything for us? Does anyone on Zoom have anything for us?
Looks like there's just 3 people.
No one has anything.
Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?